Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of At the Movies with William Fletcher. As per usual, I am your host, William Fletcher, and I'm joined once again by Mr. Harry Jobson, joining us
I'm
as he
just
has done
a
many a
couple of
time.
times, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just waiting for them to play Gangnam Style. If you've ever seen that clip, uh, I don't know what show it is. Maybe Zoe 101. But she goes like, Adam Sandler, what are you doing here? And then he turns around and he's on like this Disney show and he just goes, I'm just waiting for them to play Gangnam Style. It's one of my favorite clips on the internet, but bit of a teaser into what we're doing today.
This week we are going to be discussing an Adam Sandler movie. We are going to be talking about Happy Gilmore because they're doing a sequel. Because I guess they're just looking for films to make sequels to now. I guess like they're
Sure.
running out of
Well, I think
real major ones to do. I think that they're slowly starting to
ideas.
reach the point of yeah. Well,
Well,
it's their
Happy Gilmore
industry.
is a
Yeah.
major player in the comedy sphere. Like you think of a comedy movie and you think of a sports movie, you think of Happy Gilmore. Yeah, I believe Adam Sandler has a Netflix deal where he signed like X amount of movies to produce with them. And if you've watched any of the
Yeah.
Adam Sandler films on Netflix, this being the sequel, Happy Gilmore 2 being a Netflix produced movie. If you've ever seen any of these films, they're very they're the junk food of comedies in the sense that they're not very good, but they're there and they're you get cheap sort of giggle out of them here and there, or just cheap entertainment. That like there are some that I actually quite enjoy, the sort of Adam Sandler verse or Adam Sandler Netflix films, but a lot of them leave a lot to be desired. So it's interesting to see what they're going to do with this IP, given how beloved Happy Gilmore is. Sort of Happy Gilmore is the peak of his golden era of like the comedies he went through. Some people would say Grown Ups. Some people would say they like Billy Madison. That was his first, actually. But yeah, Adam Sandler, like a lot of big comedians and big comedic actors, especially around the early 90s, who went on to almost create their own genre of comedy movie. When an Adam Sandler comedy movie has a distinct feel, a Will Ferrell comedy film has a distinct feel, Seth Rogen's has a distinct feel, Jim Carrey has a distinct feel. You know, how they're all sort of got their own runs of comedy films and they all look, feel, sound exclusive to that comedian, even if they're not directly in front of the camera. Like I can't watch a David Spade film now without sort of thinking in my head, oh, this is probably a Happy Madison production, which is Adam Sandler's production company.
Yeah, I was just reading here that basically every Adam Sandler movie for the last 10 years has been produced and made through Netflix. Like they've all
Was it
been
Uncut Gems? I think Uncut Gems
Uncut
was as
Gems was
well.
Netflix. Yeah, so I'm just reading here in October 2014, Netflix announced a 4-movie deal with Sandler and Happy Madison Productions. So then he did a couple of other sort of theatrical films, and then they did the Ridiculous Six, which I've never seen, but I've heard is quite
Awful. One of the worst
bad.
comedies ever made.
I did the Meyerowitz stories, which is Noah Baumbach's film, which I've heard is quite good actually. I did the murder mystery films with Jennifer
Jennifer
Aniston.
Aniston.
Yeah, and
I
they
think
did
his last
yeah.
great, I think his last great comedy, because he's done Uncut Gems, and then he did that basketball one as
Yeah,
well.
Hustle, I think that
Hustle. And those are two great films. And I think we can argue here, and I know some people disagree, but the fact that Adam Sandler wasn't even nominated for an Oscar for Uncut Gems is one of the biggest snubs in history, I believe. It is purely because it's Adam Sandler. Like they just didn't. Ben Stiller is they would happily nominate someone like Ben Stiller because he plays in sort of both worlds. But Adam Sandler is seen largely by the film community as a cheap, annoying, normal. Like, I love Adam Sandler. Respect, like there are like he has quirks in every character he plays, again, it's an example of what I was talking about, how each comedian has their own sort of thing. You know, Jim Carrey's very over the top. Adam Sandler will like raise his voice and yell like this for some reason, and like in certain bits, and he'll go blah, 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 and I'm like, those bits I don't really care about. But the films are good. They're funny. It makes sense when Happy Gilmore's character in this film, it makes a lot more sense. Or he used to sort of play a man child. And now he's more, I guess, developed as a filmmaker, but also when you look at his last major comedy that I think was pretty well received would have been Blended with Drew Barrymore.
Was that the Drew Barrymore?
And I know not again, it's not like critically acclaimed, obviously. But a lot of people that I know, they fucking love Blended. Like, you ask any normal person that isn't a film bro who thinks their opinion is top shit, or, you know, even up to the high level critics, but they will all go, "Oh, Adam Sandler." They'll hate on it as if as if they've done better. And something like, I mean, Blended was pretty popular. I think I remember it. I think I remember it was like one of the last major DVDs I remember seeing around. Like, I could still go to Big W. I think I'd find a DVD of Blended in the bargain bin. You know what I mean? Like, it's big on DVD.
Yeah.
And
yeah, I mean, I guess to talk about, I mean, Adam Sandler, just in general. I would describe myself as a fan of Adam Sandler. I think as his career went on, he sort of devolved a bit into making shit. But I
think he's come out and publicly said he knows, but he's the one getting paid, so he doesn't care. He's like, I know, but Netflix is paying me.
Yeah, and he's just sort of making films with his friends, basically, and just making shit, which I have to respect that. That's
the dream, right?
Yeah, that's what you want, yeah.
But with Happy Gilmore specifically, was it his second feature film outside of SNL?
I'm gonna look that up because I'm not entirely sure. It was certainly one of his most. It's certainly I would say one of his most iconic films. So before he did Happy Gilmore, he did Going Overboard, Shakes the Clown, Coneheads, Airheads.
Yeah. But those are all SNL productions. I think this is his
Billy
second
Madison.
Happy Madison.
He did Billy
Happy
Madison.
Madison. Happy Madison, the production company, comes from Billy Madison, Happy Gilmore, right? Like, those are his two first major films, and those are the films he produced, and those are huge. Like, they are. That's sort of the birthplace of Adam Sandler. Yes, he was on SNL in that 90s golden era with like David Spade and Chris Farley. But yeah, ultimately, and I know he later added Kevin James to his repertoire, and I think there's a really funny scene in Brooklyn Nine-Nine in one of the episodes. Adam Sandler's like at an auction, and then Adam Sandler's given Andy Samberg's character lip, and Andy Samberg's like, "Who's Kevin James playing in the next movie?" And Adam's like, "Ha ha ha, very funny. He's actually playing my neighbor or the president or whatever."
Because it's meant to be like a Russian. He's like, I'm making a serious movie. It's like a Russian period drama or something, and he's the president of whatever, you know. It's something like, I don't remember exactly what the scene is, but it's along those lines.
And I think it's also known that, Adam Sandler typically just casts. He has a close group of people that he casts. So if you watch one of my favorite Adam Sandler films is Mr. Deeds. I love Mr. Deeds. I also love Big Daddy, those sort of films. But yeah, I mean, even in that, you'll just see typically he has sort of a group of actors that he prefers to work with. Although I didn't find that much in Happy Gilmore. I mean,
not really, no.
There are a few, like the caddy. The caddy is like a recurring character in a lot of his films that plays like a close friend. I can't think of the actor's name right now. I know that he ended up having a falling out over money or something. I can't quite remember. He tried to do like a solo career, didn't really work as a leading man. when you think of Adam Sandler, you sort of think of Drew Barrymore in like a weird. Adam Sandler always casts like the woman of the time as his love interest,
Yeah, always like the most like the hottest woman who is like
and he
way too
and,
hot for him.
and he
But
casted
he's
the
always
mum from Modern Family.
I was watching this and I was looking at the cast. I'm like, holy
You're like
shit, that's the
Claire,
mum from
Julie
Modern Family.
Bowen,
Yeah,
and
and she
she's,
looks
by the
really
way,
different.
Julie Bowen's a great cast and lead. We'll go over the film in a second, but I did want to just mention sort of brief, like as broadly, a lot of his comedies also just have a romantic subplot, like Billy Madison and his romance with like the kindy teacher, which is weird when you think about it, but she's also
Mm.
stunning in the film. Surprise, surprise. Um,
Yeah, every film it's like the most attractive woman he could like
and he
cast.
casts his real wife as like some side character's wife that's like in Grown Ups,
Yeah,
it's
he doesn't
actually
even cast his own.
outrageous.
Yeah, he doesn't even
He
cast his
casts his
actual wife
Yeah,
as
he
his.
casts his real wife as like part of the ugly family, and I'm like, dude, that's insane. That's insane that you would do that and not just cast your actual wife as your wife. But radio, Adam Sandler, I guess. But yeah, he a lot of his films, especially early on, have a romantic sort of subplot or overarching like romantic plot. Uh, Mr. Deeds is the same. They're all sort of rom coms, and I feel like that's part of the way he his films feel sort of rom-commy, like
Mm,
not as on the nose as The Wedding Singer, which is the direct conflict is the romance, but
mm.
yeah, it plays a big part in his decision making in all of his films. I feel, or
And you're a big
especially have
rom-com fan as well.
huge rom-com fan,
I think
absolutely,
I
but
talked
yeah.
about before, we sort of look at films like the way we're approaching this, like these discussions, we approach them very differently to each other, I feel like,
Well,
when
yeah,
we're doing this.
I feel, yeah, I especially when we're deeper in, I've always tried to maintain to try to be a little bit funny, but also to try to be like the voice of like the common man, and that is also to hide my inability to critically speak on films. No, not completely. I mean, I did study. I've got I've got a diploma, which isn't a high tier degree, but it's something I've always had an interest in as well, like film and filmmaking. But yeah, when it comes to films like Happy Gilmore or Adam Sandler in general, how deep are we going? And then when it comes to more negative films as well, I don't always like to dwell. I try to keep a lot of the entertainment I watch to be like relatively positive. Not like
Mm,
it can be negative, obviously, but like I try to sort of when I'm speaking about it, not put someone off. That
mm,
being like, I can't. I think when we spoke about Memento,
mm,
I wasn't like goofing or joking about it because it warrants for the film. You know what I mean?
yeah.
But yeah, Adam, I am a big to in the long and the short of it. I'm a big fan of rom coms. I feel that they fill a very necessary space. I'm a fan of terrible rom coms. I'm a fan of the hallmark like woman moves home for comes home for
Yeah, like
Christmas
the
and they live in a
Christmas, yeah.
fucking mansion in this town in Colorado and she falls in love with the lumberjack because she has to go to the tree yard to get a perfect Christmas tree. And then they fall in love, and it turns out he's actually. But she's like, no, I can't fall in love. I'm a big city girl. And then it turns out that he's actually amazing, and he's also the local vet, and he's also like a fireman, and he's also like the town hero. And then they fall
Mm,
in love. I love those, not as a film, but just as like a cheap garbage. Um, but yeah, I rom coms and good ones. I
mm.
think
Yeah, because there's a lot of trash in that genre, but I think there's some
it's
good.
90% trash, but diamonds shine through.
But yeah, the rom-com genre, there's gems, there's little gems in there. There's good films in the genre. I mean, that is a lot of what Adam Sandler makes is their comedies, but there's always like an overarching romantic sub for him and the main woman in the film. Like in this film, he's trying to win this golf tournament, but he's also trying to get with Claire from Modern Family. So I had
Yeah.
actually never seen this film until today. This is the first time I'd ever seen it, and I've been meaning to see
Really?
it.
That's
I've been meaning.
outright, William. That's an outrageous thing to say that you'd never seen Happy Gilmore. That's one where like I don't know. That changes the way I look at you. No, I'm kidding.
But it is sort of a thing of like I knew a lot about it. Like I knew the fight with Adam Sandler and Bob Barker, where they just beat the shit out of
Great
each
scene,
other in the
rest in
film.
peace, but great scene.
Oh yeah, the late great Bob Barker, of course. I was fully aware of that scene, but a lot of the stuff that I saw, I didn't even know about. Like I didn't know Carl Weathers was in it as like the mentor.
Yeah, quite a pivotal character.
Yeah. Also, rest in peace, Carl Weathers.
Yes,
Uh,
rest in peace, Carl Weathers. Chubbs,
I mean, I
as
guess
some
do
would
we
say.
want to talk about the film a little? I mean, because ever really, to be honest, I don't like. There's not like it's not like a particularly deep film that we're gonna get a lot of analysis like.
Yeah, well, I'll give it a brief overview. So if you haven't seen it or if it's been a while, Adam Sandler plays Happy Gilmore, a we'll say short-tempered, uh, violent young adult male who strives to play hockey. He's always wanted to be a hockey player. Both his parents died when he was younger, and he went to go live with his grandmother. He holds his grandmother very dear. She's a very important character to him. And they live in that house, and he's not good at hockey. He hits the ball way too hard. He hits the puck way too hard. The way he sweep shot, he's just very strong, and he just smashes
Mm,
the puck, and it's too forceful for the local team. So he goes home. They find out that his grandmother, who he lives with, and their house is getting repossessed. So it's going to be put up for
mm.
auction because she could not pay her bills. She then has to go live in a home and is abused. So there is elder abuse in this film by Ben Stiller's character,
Yeah, by
who
Ben Stiller, which I did not.
hilarious cameo. He's you will sleep or I will
And
make you sleep. And
yeah, I also didn't know Ben Stiller was in this, and it just reminded me of him in Extras. Have you seen
no,
Extras, the Ricky
no,
Gervais
I
show?
haven't.
Oh, well, the whole point of that show is they get like big celebrities in to play cameo roles. Like Ben Stiller's in one of them. There's
Yeah.
like Patrick Stewart in one, Kate Winslet, and in
Oh,
it, Ben
awesome.
Stiller he's like directing a film, but he's just a total asshole to everyone. Like he's playing a Ben Stiller character. He's just being like a dick to everyone
Similar
on set.
to like similar but opposite to Jonah Hill in This Is Us, where he plays like a really obnoxiously, annoyingly nice character, where he's like
This Is Us? Do you
super.
mean This Is the
No,
End?
no, no. This is the end. Sorry, This Is Us is
I was
different.
gonna say this.
Um,
This Is the End is
so
a,
this
a
is the end.
yeah. Yeah, this is the end. Yeah,
This is
they.
the end. Yeah, yeah. Ben Stiller's character in this film, he runs a nursing home and he just abuses them. He makes them knit all day. If their fingers get hurt, then he like he's just not a nice guy. But he's super nice
No.
to like Adam Sandler's character. Happy is like the batting cage. Oh no, he goes to the driving range, or no. He's playing golf. The repo men are playing golf out the front of Happy's house. They're just hitting golf balls off the lawn. And Happy goes,
Yeah.
I'll hit one. He makes a bet with them and he hits it to the house all the way down the street. And that sort of
Mm,
kicks off the
yeah.
main, like his golfing ability. He then goes to driving range because he realized, oh my god, I can drive really well. People are going to want to pay to watch me drive. At the driving range, Carl Weathers' character Chubbs is a retired legend golfer who is like teaching classes because he had an alligator bite off his hand, so he's a wooden hand. Sees Happy, offers to coach him, and then, yeah, the movie sort of picks up from there, really. Happy goes on the PGA tour because he gets in from a local tournament that he wins. He meets Julie Bowen's character and they sort of develop a love interest. But there's this whole overarching, like, Happy is way too violent and he attracts not a nice, proper crowd. He attracts, people in pickup trucks and rednecks and bogans and the such. And then the movie sort of there are certain conflicts within the movie, but well, I mean, we'll get to that when we're sort of discussing it more. But yeah, Happy basically needs this to make money to pay for his grandmother's house.
Yeah, pretty much what the whole point of the film is he's trying to make enough money to because his mum hasn't paid her taxes. Or is it grandmom? Sorry, she hasn't paid like her taxes. So yeah, I mean that's pretty much what the film is. It's just him playing golf for an hour or whatever. Yeah, that's pretty much what it is. He's playing golf to win some money to pay for his grandma's house. Like it's I mean I'll say I did quite like it. I thought it was a
I mean, there are certain parts that I think are done really well. I do think the romance sort of subplot between Adam Sandler's character and Julie Bowen is really well executed. She works for the PGA Tour, and she's like, I don't date golfers. And he's like, well, good thing I'm a hockey player. That's a great line. And then he takes her on a date and they hire out a whole ice rink. And I don't know, I think that's really well executed. He plays a character really well. It's really believable. Julie Bowen does an amazing job on screen. She's really great in this film, given him and Happy and Bob Barker at one PGA event get into a fist fight. And he says, the price is wrong, bitch. That's, again, great line. They call back to the alligator, but I think the biggest story arc is between him and Chubbs and Chubbs's death, which that's probably the saddest part of the film. I have cried at that point before. Not when he dies, but, when he's, like, in his happy place and Chubbs is playing the piano and he's talking to them. Like Carl Weathers is playing. That scene used to get me, like genuinely. Because I love that film as a kid. Carl Weathers does, again, an amazing job. The chemistry that he has with Adam Sandler, and I feel like Adam Sandler does that really well. He brings this comedic value out of these actors that you wouldn't typically think. Again, Julie Bowen, an amazing comedic actress when you look at her career. The amount of Emmys that woman has for her role and stint on Modern Family. We'll speak about the villain of this film as well. And that falls into, because when you said how funny they are, Shooter McGavin is the greatest he's the greatest, antagonist I think I've watched in a comedy movie ever. The way, because he plays so because he, and I'm doing it to myself, trying to explain it, but he puts himself through loops. Like, he does everything he does is sort of like, you eat pieces of shit for breakfast, and he's like, no, and the way he sort of looks down, he's angry. The way he plays that scene is so good, and the way he sort of bounces off Adam Sandler's character, where he just is almost disgusted by everything he says, and he plays this really uptight, I'm the best golfer around. He's supposed to be sort of the dominant force in golfing, but he gets picked on by his golf buddies because he's never won a PGA Tour. He's never gotten a green jacket.
And so he lashes out and is a massive dick because he, is inferior and is sort of got a bit of a complex about that whole
He also doesn't like Happy's character because of the crowd he's attracting. And I think if you would look at golfing now, and I don't know how much you look at golfing, I have a pretty deep interest in all sport, but golfing, I've played that much PGA 2K. I go to the driving range and golf in real life. I'm not very good at golf, but I watch a lot of golf.
I was going to ask, about that, because you're much more of a sports guy than I am. I'm not really a sports person. I just want to. I was going to ask, how do you feel about golf, like as a sport, and that? Because I've played the closest I've gotten is mini golf, and I did do golfing at school, like for PE lessons, but I've never gone to a place where you play, with the gloves and the caddies and all that.
Yeah, golf course. Yeah, I've done that, and it's good fun. It is. I mean, because I'm so bad, I get real mad at it real quick. Because I just want to be good, and it's so hard to be good at. Golfing is really difficult.
I think the thing is with golf is it's not really a dynamic sport to like something like boxing or football or soccer,
rugby,
or basketball, like any of those sports. It's that dynamic. Like golf is just the guy swinging a club and hitting a very small ball. It's hard to make that intro. Like it's not the
Well,
whereas with
being a
soccer and
solo, yeah, I think it's
football or
largely because
anything.
it's an individual sport. I think that's why there isn't a direct competitor. You're sort of competing. You're competing scores rather than against each other physically. Although I think you've had breakthroughs in the culture and to make it more dynamic. I mean, look at Live Golf. That's very party. They have hole in one holes. If someone hits a hole in one, everyone throws beers and everything. Like it goes
Yeah,
crazy.
I think
And Live Golf is
some
very electric,
yeah
but
some sports fans are a bit mental to me. Like just it's just the thing of like you can't do that with golf because it's not the same thing. It's like so it
I
is
think you can
hard.
do that with one situation in golf, and that's a hole in one. Because just the statistical chance of getting a hole in one is so small
Mm,
that if you get a
yeah.
hole in one, I understand going crazy. It's not like he did something that's super crazy skillful, because it is crazy skillful, but it's just like you just witness someone get an insane amount of luck to start with one single hit and hit a ball, which is
Mm,
what, an inch by an inch,
yeah.
into a hole that's maybe 4 by 4, 180 meters down the. That's insane. It's an insane feat.
Mm,
And
yeah.
in the same way that people go crazy for like Dude Perfect and their trick shots, it's kind of like a trick shot,
Yeah,
and that's the
exactly. Yeah.
only situation in which golf I would get me like super hot. Well, not me. I just enjoy watching it, but like
Mm.
would get people super hyperactive about it and passionate.
I want to talk about the music in this film because there's a curated soundtrack for this film.
Yes.
So there was Carry On Wayward Son, which is a very, very good
Mm,
song, I'll say. I was surprised that there was a Gary Glitter song because that has aged very, very poorly. Like
mm,
I genuinely when the Gary Glitter song started playing, I I just sort of froze for a second. I was like, what the fuck? Because I just didn't expect and then I'm like, oh, of course, this is a film from 1996. This was before we knew who Gary Glitter was as a person. That's why they would use a Gary Glitter song. It was very surprising to me to just have it in the film there. There were some other ones. Those are the only two that I can like immediately call to mind.
I think, yeah, the soundtrack for that film, it's very much a product of its era. It does feel,
Oh god, yeah, it's a lot of just
yeah.
90s and hits.
And but again,
Um,
I love it. I love it for that. And I also, because we can talk about sort of different, more like aspects of the film when you, because to me, the biggest part of what this film has done is its impact. Genuinely, its impact on like pop culture, and not only pop culture, but golf in the sense that there is
mm,
literally a new technique that he borderline invented or largely popularized, where he runs up to hit the ball,
mm,
and it's a legal shot. You don't have to be standing over the ball still. And for golf, who is they're just the oldest, grumpiest sport of all time. Like when it comes to like its rules and like being proper, even though again it's had a, because of Happy Gilmore, a pretty huge rebrand. Yeah, it does. It does. It's very stringent about the rules, and a lot of people are like you see in this film, the play it where it lies, and it's sitting on his shoe. That's a dead set rule. A lot of people take very seriously, and I understand that. But yeah, the fact that like he can, and a real golfers used his technique to run up, drive, a swing the ball like a slap shot in hockey. I mean, it, it's had a huge impact, but when you get into the actual film and sort of like try to break it down, it's difficult because it's just a really well-rounded and cinema comedy. I think it handles its love interest as well.
mm.
Again, the relationship between Happy and Shooter is
Mm.
and should I don't even do it I don't even do it when I'm doing golf. When I'm bowling and I hit a strike, I can't remember last time I hit a strike in bowling or I went to the driving range up at Top Golf and I hit a really good
Mm.
shot and I didn't turn around to my friends and go, "Shooter!" and like blow my fingers off like they're guns, like he does in the movie.
Mhm.
And that's something that has fully stayed with me. I do it every time. I think it's pretty quoted in my family and in my house, but in my family, we're a big comedy movie family where it goes like,
Mm.
maybe we should play in some hay or lay by the bay. I just may. It's like you had a large part in writing the script and you're making fun of yourself. And I think, I don't know, it's done really well. It's inherently quotable. I like it the scene where he's in the batting cage and he just like
Yeah,
removes everything and he's just
he
getting
just is
hit in
hitting
the
it.
head.
Yeah, he's just taking it like, come on, just. It's like Heath Ledger in The Dark Knight, where he's like yelling at Batman to like run into him with the bike. He's like, come on, hit me.
Yeah. There are
Um,
some things in this film that I also find is sort of, and this a lot people might call this a bit of a stretch, but in this film, there's a large chunk of it for visual comedy. The scene where he's like looking up to heaven is pretty funny, but the scene as well where it's where he's like putting all the checks in his car and they're all still massive checks that he has to take with him, and
yeah,
he's like
he's just,
loading these
yeah,
massive checks into this tiny car, and
yeah,
I don't know, that feels like Mel Brooks to me. Like very sort of like slapstick in the sense of visual comedy and having, you know, oh well, of course, well, what does he do with the large check? Well, here's a scene of him trying to put it into a car. I don't know. I just think it's funny because the back of his car is full of large checks. The Subway ad I quite like as well. I
oh
think
yeah.
this did numbers for Subway. This made me
I will
want
say,
Subway.
this film, I will say this film actually, because there's a lot of comedies from like sort of the 90s and sort of 2000s that date a bit poorly, like certain jokes made about like jokes about gay people or but
Yeah.
this film doesn't really have that issue. It could have been made recently and you wouldn't notice the.
I think a lot of the jokes are like, well, I mean, one of the biggest jokes is you eat pieces of shit for breakfast, which is like that's one of the funniest bits. But like the way they sort of play off product placement as a joke, like Subway, which is very clear product placement, but the way it sort of becomes a
Mm,
joke within the film, I think is done really well. And that's timeless comedy because it's not aimed at anything that's like relevant. And I understand for
mm,
comedy to be funny, sometimes it well, actually, no, I feel like for the best comedies aren't always relevant to its time period. A lot of comedies now that I think are struggling is because when you watch it, you're like, "Oh, this was very much made in 2020." You can tell because it pokes fun at the pop culture and what's happening at the time, and you need to be able to be funny outside of that. And I think, this is what Happy Gilmore does really well.
because they're not particularly clever jokes or even unique jokes. Like these are they're not, but they're just done to a standard. They're not like they aren't just. Which is sort of the thing is like I don't necessarily need every film to be reinventing the wheel to have the greatest jokes in the world or anything. I just want
It's
good
executed
jokes.
well.
I just
Yeah.
yeah, I just want to watch something that's funny, like have good jokes in it. I'd much rather take that than a film trying to do something new and failing. I'd prefer to just something new. I'd just rather something new really than
Yeah.
trying to do something. Um, I mean, yeah, I do like it. I think where would you sort of say Adam Sandler sits in comparison to like other iconic '90s comedians, like Jim Carrey? Like, where would you put
Are we counting? So if we do, because he's like, okay, if we're going like
Adam
leading
Sandler? Where
man
does
in
he?
comedic, yeah, 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 like a Mount Rushmore, is a good one because he's on there. I think when it comes to comedians that have had like long successful film runs, and again,
Mm,
that's Will Ferrell, Adam Sandler, Jim Carrey, Seth Rogen. How many's on Mount Rushmore? Four or five?
4.
Four. Well, those are my four. I Ben Stiller. Oh, I
Okay.
could. There's a world where I can make an argument for Ben Stiller, but Adam Sandler, Will Ferrell, Seth Rogen, Jim Carrey, and Adam Sandler is one of the larger heads. Like him, I would honestly probably go him, Jim Carrey. Like if I was to rank them, no, if I was to rank them, Jim Carrey, Adam Sandler, Will Ferrell, Seth Rogen. I think Adam Sandler's early run is so, and the Will Ferrell has the same. He has Step Brothers and Talladega Nights, and those are
Mm.
great, very funny
Yeah.
films. Old
That's the
school, but
thing as well, yeah, you've gotta sort of look at someone's whole like Jim Carrey, his sort of comedy run, it started to wane a bit as it's sort of gone on, but you also can't
it
deny the early stuff he did,
it had an
like, you can't deny.
outrageous migration into like this era of being like, Yes Man and Liar Liar and films like that.
Yeah.
They sort of feel where it's like he had this. They had a different tone to earlier Jim Carrey. Like Jim Carrey, when I think of Jim Carrey, I think of Dumb and Dumber. And let's not talk about Dumb and Dumber 2, but Dumb and Dumber, and that's what I worry Happy Gilmore 2 is going to be like, to be honest. But because it's just spent too much time. You got to learn from something like Dumb and Dumber 2 that it just won't really work. But yeah, Jim Carrey, like Ace Ventura, that's what you think of, right? But
Yeah.
Adam Sandler, if we have a look at, we've got Billy Madison, Mr. Deeds, Happy Gilmore, and then you go, yes, but he's got things like Zohan, Grown Ups, Wedding Singer, Click. Well, I mean, if you're a Click fan, I'm not a huge Click guy, but it's all right. Um, but yeah, and then yeah, you have that one where he played Jack and Jill. That one's outrageous. That is an outrageous Adam Sandler film. The fact that that exists is a fever dream. But then you also have like 50 First Dates, and he did another one with Jennifer Aniston, I think, back in the day.
Mm.
I don't know. When you look at sort of his body of work, it's pretty high up there. I can't think of many other. Again, Ben Stiller would make the argument for me. If you count Dodgeball as a Ben Stiller film, even though he does play like the antagonist, you've got but that's like Vince Vaughn. But I feel like Wedding Singers, which is also Vince Vaughn, is Ben Stiller, and I understand that it's not, but it feels similar. Maybe it's more Owen Wilson, but
Yeah.
not Wedding Crashers. Sorry, I'm having a day.
Mm.
Um, but yeah,
Mm.
I just think I don't know. Adam Sandler, and I'm gonna count that as like the broader universe. So like David Spade is the Adam Sandler universe, and
Mm.
Kevin James, not here because of the boom, but almost everything else is like. I think there was that one. What's that one where they play? I don't know if you've seen it, but they play like arcade game aliens, Pixels.
Oh, Pixels, yeah, that's not a very good film.
No, that's outrageous. He's up there on my Mount Rushmore. Adam Sandler and Happy Gilmore again. I think it's his best film. My favorite of
Mm.
his is The Wedding Singer, but I think Happy Gilmore, it's larger social impact. Just how
Mm.
good of a watch it is. It's also paced really well, edited well. The comedic timing's really well done. Like, there's no point that I feel like this film drags at all. The
Mm.
My favorite is how the entire, especially, and I don't know how you felt watching it for the first time, but the entire final act where they're coming down to the last of the tournament and Happy goes from the bottom to the top, and then it
Mm.
goes to that shootout with Shooter is done so well. Like the tension
Mm.
brought in that whole
Mm.
third act is really well done. Basically, just after Chubbs' death, and the way it
Mm.
gets to the ending, yeah, I love it.
Mm. And yeah, there's the callback to like this whole metal structure just like falls down, blocking the way. Um.
Yeah, yeah, and it's a callback directly to like go to your happy place and what he did when he was at the mini golf course the night that Chubbs passed away, and he sort of
Mm,
has Chubbs talk to him, and then also not just that, but the guy who Happy's boss, like his old boss that he shot in the head with a nail gun,
mm,
plays sort of a reoccurring character. He's the guy that the ball lands on the foot of, and then I believe in the final act when he's so ultimately, spoiler alert, Adam wins. He hits a crazy putt. Shooter, in a fit of anger, steals the green jacket and tries to run away putting it on. I don't know what he thought would happen. He's on a fucking golf
mm.
course. Yeah, and the boss comes back wearing a shirt that says "Guns don't kill people, I kill people," which is quite a
Yeah.
quite a like that's thinking, oh, that's still like a current issue, and this
Yeah, that's a bit
probably
of a
yeah,
yeah, that's a bit of a
that's
like, ooh,
aged. Yeah, but it's not
ooh,
like he plays like a backwards sort of character. Like he plays
yeah,
Adam Sandler tends to also have characters that are inherently wacky
mm,
in his films that are usually like backward. The Waterboy is a really good example of that.
mm,
But yeah, he always has some sort of wacko character in there, and this guy is sort of the wacko character. And then he goes, what does he yell? That green jacket doesn't belong to you, and he chases him down. I love that scene.
yeah. There's this big slow mo where he's like running, like to put the flipping the jacket around so he can put it on while he's being chased by like a crowd of people. Yeah,
Yeah, and in the end of the day, Adam Sandler, he gets the girl and everyone loves him and he gets the house and it's a really great ending to a really concise. It feels like an hour and a half, an hour 40 maybe the film.
yeah.
And
It's like 91 minutes or something.
yeah, so an hour and a half, which is how films should be. Um at least a good comedy. That's all you need. That's the
I mean,
best
I kind
pacing for a threat. Half an hour on
of
each act. It's not like a hard, sort of
yeah. I mean,
rule
that's
to
my thing is
follow.
films should be. I feel this because we're getting just this point in time where films are gonna be like where every film is like 3 fucking hours long, and I'm just like, films should be like 90 minutes long. Honestly, like more films should be 90 minutes long. I don't have time to watch 3 hour movies all the time.
Well, that's
Give
exactly
me a
it.
98 minute.
You should be able to get home from work, jump on. I'm very anti-streaming service. So you should be able to get home from work, or on your way home from work, go buy a DVD, go buy a Blu-ray, and or get home and purchase it through like a digital seller, like Amazon or something. I don't know. But like purchase it digitally. Again, streaming. You should be able to own what you own.
To be honest,
I
I will say this as someone who uses streaming services, streaming fucking sucks.
and
It's
like I
terrible.
just the concept of not owning something. I really don't like. I mean, it's necessary for things like a rent, but at what point are you just renting everything? I
Yeah,
rent my
I mean, did you
music with
see
Spotify.
the
I
Nintendo
rent,
Switch 2 and how you
yeah,
technically don't own it?
yeah. So you're renting that, even though you
Which is
pay a
just
huge upfront
insane.
cost.
You're spending like $700 or something to not even own it.
It's the same with the games as well. You don't actually own any of the data on the games. You just own a key to use the game, and
Hmm.
the same as with films. Streaming service, it's the exact same. Except now a streaming service is producing the sequel to Happy Gilmore. And now a streaming service is producing these films and producing these TV series like Squid Game. My favorite current TV series that I'm watching is produced by Amazon Prime. It's Invincible. And like
Hmm.
it's frustrating. Disney Plus has so much necessary content if you're a fan of the Marvel franchise or Star Wars franchises, which are two of the largest IPs ever. If you like the two largest IPs of all time, then to have the necessary content you need to be in the loop, you have to buy a streaming service, but you don't buy it. We just let you have access to watch it,
Yeah.
and then as soon as you stop,
And
but you're never going to stop.
companies are phasing out making physical media. Like they're phasing out making DVDs and Blu-rays of their movies and shows And some of those things like never get a home release. So if they take that off their streaming service, it is lost media. Like you have to pirate it. And that
Yeah.
shouldn't be how things work anymore. Like streaming is meant to make everything more convenient, make everything easier. And the fact that there's going to be lost media now is insane to me. Yeah.
And from this era of Happy Gilmore, and again, we're not getting the like there will be no DVD of Happy Gilmore 2. It's made by Netflix. With Happy Gilmore, you'd buy something like that DVD. I don't know about Happy Gilmore specifically. I think we had one of those white DVDs with Sharpie on it, if you know what I mean. Yeah, we bought it off a friend who bought it in Thailand or something. But they would often have like little features that have little other games. DVDs just give you a lot more. The filmmakers obviously put into
Yeah.
care. It's an experience inside of itself. Sometimes you'd open it, you get like a poster with it. That was awesome.
Mm. Yeah.
And I just, or like the yeah, I'm a big fan of DVDs, and the fact that Happy Gilmore 2 is being produced and released by Netflix really, really irks me. And if you watch the trailers, it just feels like too long. It feels you took too long. I'm sorry you took too long. Ace Ventura 2 came out like a year after Ace Ventura. That's how you do it.
Mm.
And a lot of people love Ace Ventura 2. But
Mm.
I think the only film that's done that like well was Anchorman. I think Anchorman had a decent
Mm.
difference in time, and I feel like Anchorman 2 was still pretty good. Anchorman 2 is severely underrated, but that's the only comedy film I've ever thought that like took quite.
Mm.
What was the difference? Like 10 years between Anchorman and Anchorman 2?
10 years, yeah.
Yeah, that's a big difference in like, especially at the
Mm.
time in the world with the internet age. It was a huge difference. It was probably the
Mm.
hardest time difference to get across, and Dumb and Dumber weren't able to do it. And I don't think that Happy Gilmore. I really want to be wrong because I want it to be
Mm.
good because of how much I love Happy Gilmore. But yeah,
Mm.
it doesn't look good.
I haven't really looked at it that much. I mean, I'll watch it because it's on Netflix. So,
Is it out
do you want to
now?
put it?
When does it come
It's
out?
out in a couple of weeks, I think. I'm doing this now because there will be something pretty big next week that will take precedence over this. A big
Yes.
tent pole in the year. So I will say that's why I'm doing this now.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. It comes out on the 25th of July. Happy Gilmore 2.
Mm.
Is it getting a
Yeah.
cinematic release? It feels big enough to. No,
I
it's just
feel
going to
like
be
it
paid
could do
on.
decently well at the box office for them to justify it. As far as
I
I'm aware,
absolutely would, but I don't think they're not. I don't think they are.
we haven't done Happy Gilmore, have we?
No.
I very sturdy 7 out of 10. I quite liked it. I
Okay.
thought there were some really
Okay.
funny bits in it. It's Adam Sandler doing his like shtick he does, but I didn't find it annoying here,
Sure.
which is good. Probably because I think this was when he tried more to make proper films.
Yeah.
Whereas now he's just sort of having a laugh with his mates, which I can respect that. I can respect that
Yeah.
he's like,
Yeah.
fuck it, I'm just gonna do this for the money, and he, being honest and open about that. I can't really
Yeah.
fault that he's just willing to
Yeah.
say, I don't really give a shit. But yeah, I give this a sturdy 7. I do like it.
It's a 10. It's an absolute 10 for me. I love this film. Because it's just such a
Wow.
it's such a well-rounded comedy. It's Adam Sandler's best comedy, and if Adam Sandler's my second
Mm,
favorite of all time. Like
mm,
genuinely. I love Adam Sandler. Yeah, I love it's not how much I love Adam Sandler. I just like him. Like I like him as a character, but I just love his sort of films. But yeah, Happy
mm,
Gilmore is it's the best sports comedy. It's one of the best comedies, I think. It's up there in not in a way that like Blazing Saddles is, or some of the Monty
mm,
Python is, or even sort of more contemporary like films, but in a way that I think because it's not so pop culture dependent, sorry, and the
mm,
characters sort of not only transferable like through time, but also so well rounded that they feel very natural
Mm.
is like what I think hoists it above something like like as much as I love like Ted, for example, and the reason I'm using Ted as an example is because I recently like rewatched the TV series for like the 100th time because there's a one season like
Which TV series? Sorry,
seven
the
Ted TED where
the
Seth
Ted.
MacFarlane
Yeah,
plays the bear.
I
Yeah,
have seen that
the
actually. I liked it actually. Yeah.
the TV series is great, but the show the film is like
Mm.
pretty dependent on like its period. You know what I mean? And I think maybe, well, for me, it'll still be funny in 20 years time because I remember that as like my current. I
Mm.
think kids in 20 years time, I feel like I could show my 7-year-old nephew Happy Gilmore right now and he would find
Mm.
it so funny. And I don't think that's dependent on like, I think in 20 years you could show a 7-year-old Happy Gilmore and they'll think it's funny. And I think it appeals to all ages as well. Like grown men
Mm.
love it, but as a kid, I loved it. All my siblings loved it. Like we were all different
Mm.
ages, different genders, different like personalities and interests. There's 8 people in a house,
Mm.
and that was one of the one films I think everyone sort of enjoyed. It was
Mm.
because of how well rounded it was. Some people found value in certain parts of the comedy, and others found value in others. And it's really hard to have a well rounded 90-minute comedy nowadays. So
Mm.
yeah, it's a 10. I think it just does everything super well. I don't think it's super amazing at one thing, and I don't think it's great at the. I don't think it's like awful at anything either.
Well, that's this week's episode. It's a bit of a shorter one this week, but you know, there wasn't as much to say on Happy Gilmore as last week we covered the Superman films, and that's films or so 6, 7 films we had to cover in an episode. So it's a bit of a shorter one this week. Um,
Yeah.
but thank you so much for listening to this week's episode. Thank you, Harry, for joining me for this week.
Oh, thank you for having me. I love Happy Gilmore. I was very excited.
And yeah, I hope you've all enjoyed listening. And next week is gonna be another big tentpole blockbuster film we're gonna be looking at. So who knows? But yeah, I hope you've all enjoyed listening, and I'll see you all in the next one. Goodbye.